Badoom, badoom. That was my jazz intro for Three Body Thinking. I think I crushed it. You're welcome for the fantastic musical intro, clearly upstaging the last video I did with far better production value. Welcome to this series, Cognitive Bias and Logical Fallacies in under 10 minutes. That's going to be the objective of these videos. They are always going to be a quick blast and trying to get you in and out the door quickly with a better understanding of how your brain plays tricks on you and convinces you that you know the world far better than you actually do. Biologically speaking, the objective of literally every single cell in your body, but the collective you, is to survive. So it is to pass on your genetics so that the pieces of you can continue living. That is what we are wired for. It is survival. In order to survive, you don't always have to have an accurate representation of the world. You just need to survive. So if your brain convinces you that X is reality when really Y is reality, but so far operating under the belief system that X is your reality has kept you alive, there's no need to believe otherwise. There's no need to go searching for why. There's no need to go searching for any other answers because you're alive. So you have succeeded at the game of life. In that, it creates so many pitfalls, cognitive biases, logical fallacies, examples where your brain has created a shortcut that has convinced you that the world you believe in is accurate. Today, I really want to focus on the fundamental attribution error. It is also known as the FAE, just abbreviated, shortened, but a lot of people just say FAE rather than fundamental attribution error. It is kind of building on the last episode I did where it talks about how we are so egocentric in the way that we see the world that we often believe it revolves around us, that in three-body thinking that we have so little information about how the world really operates, but we often live our lives under the assumption that we have far more understanding than we do. So this is literally a perfect alignment of that theme. The fundamental attribution error says that we overemphasize the person's personality in the situation rather than the situational context when we are looking at other people. So what that actually means is if you're driving your car and you are late for work and you had a rough morning because your kids were fussy or your toilet started leaking and you had to duct tape it really quick and then get to work, there could be a million reasons why you are not being the best version of a driver in that moment. And none of them have to do with who you are as a person. None of them have to do with whether you're good or bad, whether you are prioritizing yourself over other people. It is just, this happened to me and these are my circumstances. Now I have to go take care of the situation. I have to speed. I have to cut people off. I have to get to work. And none of those are going to make us judge ourselves necessarily. But if you are driving and you feel like you're coasting along and you are abiding by the rules of the law, and all of a sudden somebody comes flying over, they're speeding, they're cutting you off, we are incredibly quick to call that person a handful of names. Some are a lot more polite than others. But that is the fundamental attribution error. That is us having an understanding of our own situation where we know why we're late, we know why we're speeding, we know why we're behaving in the way we are. But when we look at other people, we are quick to blame them as people. So that person is speeding because they are rude, because they are selfish, because they don't care about other people on the road. George Carlin put it best when he said, and let me look this up so I get it 100% right, is, have you ever noticed that anybody driving slower than you is an idiot and anyone going faster than you is a maniac? Because obviously we are doing the perfect thing on the road. Our speed is the best option to drive. Everybody else around us is the issue. But again, that is the fundamental attribution error. You might be going 10 over the speed limit, and everybody that's driving slow is annoying. They're not paying attention to the road. They're not reading your cues. They need to get out of the way. Or you might be going 5 under because you're in no hurry and you want to play it safe and you want to be careful, which is still perfectly legal. And then everybody else that is speeding are, as George Carlin put it, maniacs, dangerous, making bad decisions, and prioritizing themselves over the rest of the people on the road. So when considering the fundamental attribution error, it can also play into work. Let's say you have a fellow employee who is constantly turning assignments in late or failing to meet deadlines. All reasons that we might look at them and say they don't have their life together. They're not prioritizing work. Why is this person still around? Plenty of things that we can attach to them that makes us feel better about ourselves, and it makes it appear that they are inherently worse than we are, without asking the questions of what does their home life look like? What does their internal state look like? Who knows what they're actually going through in life and what their challenges are? And maybe the fact that they even get their work done at all is a massive success in their life, because of the circumstances that they're currently in that we are completely unaware of. But that takes the brain so much more work to even have that thought process, to even think what could be going on in this person's life that I am not seeing. It takes more energy than going, they're lazy, move on, I survived, I'm going to pass my genetics on, I'm better than the lazy person, my brain has done all the work it needs to do, I'm good. So we have to ourselves put the work in to change the way our brain thinks, to change the way it sees the world, because it always wants to shortcut. Your brain is always going to take the easiest route. It's always going to conserve energy. And then we have to make decisions that are counter to that. We have to be the one that is willing to go talk to that person and ask a very open question of, do they need help? Is everything okay? What are the reasons for their struggle? And after having a long conversation, you might actually find out they don't care about the job at all. Everything's been handed to them their whole life. They're a Nepo baby that just got the job because their uncle's the manager. There could be hundreds of reasons that you are absolutely right. But the whole point is you cannot assume that those are the facts until you actually go and do some digging and find out. The hard part of that is whether or not your belief on them is true doesn't really change the current situation. They are still turning in assignments late that maybe make your team look poor in their ability to achieve objectives. But how you approach them from there on can drastically change, which therefore can change the outcomes of how you move forward with that person. It's also just a more forgiving world to live in when you are able to look at other people and realize that the quick judgments you want to make about them as to whether they're good or evil or moral, not moral, lazy or hardworking, have so many strings attached to them, just like you do in your own life. So yeah, that was the fundamental attribution error. I really hope the next time you're quick to make a judgment about somebody, especially if it's somebody really important in your life, or even if it's somebody that's probably never going to be seen again by you, a person at a checkout line or something like that, and they are short with you, I really urge you to fight the desire to quickly label them the jerk, label them the problem, label them the a-hole, and to just think about how you've been victimized in that situation, and to actually put the effort in to think about what might be going on in that person's life that has caused them to behave this way that I might be unaware of. Whether or not you go to the depths and the links to ask all those questions, simply having that viewpoint on life, that there is far more to this person than the 10 seconds that I got a snippet of them, will massively impact the amount of empathy and sympathy you have for your fellow humans and the people around you. All right, take care, and I hope you learned a little bit today.